close the door behind you. You're now in the green room.
All right. Hello and welcome, everybody. Welcome to another episode of The Green Room. I'm in here today with Eliezer. Eliezer, can you just introduce yourself to the viewers and listeners? Tell them hello.
Hi everybody. I am Eliezer Supré. That's how my name is pronounced. I am from Trinidad, currently live in Jamaica. I'm a musician here and glad to be here.
Yeah, man. Thanks for correcting me on that. I didn't catch that. It was Eliezer, not Eliezer.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, man. Guys, let me tell you something. I'm excited about this. Eliezer is the first official team member with Caribbean Cadence. Caribbean Cadence is now no longer just me behind the scenes pulling strings and making sure that we are fulfilling the mission that we're trying to set out to do. But now we have Eliezer on the team with us as well. And so I'm very excited about that. And so, yeah, man, Eliezer, we're glad to have you.
Thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be a part of the team. I've been seeing the platform, I've been seeing it in action, and it really is a part of a passion of mine to do. So like the opportunity came for me to jump on board. I was just like, all right.
Yeah, man. Tell me a little bit about that passion. Where does that passion come from?
Oh, okay. So I am someone who has traveled across the Caribbean, being that my parents are missionaries. And so in the Salvation Army, I've lived in Trinidad, Haiti, and Jamaica. My parents are Haitian, so I was able to live there for quite a few times. And then from traveling from one country to the other and also visiting different places like St. Vincent to experience the culture that is there music-wise, I realized that everybody has their sound, has their own rhythm, has their, like Trinidad has soca, Jamaica has reggae, Haiti has compa and such, but still to see the similarities that goes from one island to the next, and yet the differences that's there. So me being a musician, I grew up in the church playing and such, so being exposed to the Caribbean and its sound, so I fell in love with it and really just wanted to soak up everything that I got and wanted to share it with the world as well.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And when you told me that, that really stuck with me because it really speaks to the mission of Caribbean Cadence, because we really want to reach across the region. We want to reach across the region as a uniting thread, musical thread, pulling all these similar musicians from similar backgrounds together in a way that can refine what we're doing, in a way that can speak to the younger musicians who are coming up. And so your background, having had experiences across all these different nations and seeing how things work behind the scenes in all these different places, really spoke to me when we talked on the phone before you joined the team.
Right.
Yeah. Where would you say you spend the most time? Has it been equal across the board?
No, actually, Jamaica has been the most time. So I'm born in Trinidad, but I left when I was 2 years old. So leaving there, my parents were stationed here in Jamaica in Spanish Town. Spent about 6 years in Spanish Town and then additional 2 years in Montego Bay. So that's 8 years already of my life being spent there. So I learned to talk Pato, I learned to talk English. That was basically my first, language coming up. Right. So people might ask, how come he doesn't have the Trinidadian accent? That's kind of where it stemmed from. After that, I moved to Haiti, which I never thought possible, but it happened. And I never knew the language, Haitian Creole or anything like that, French. My parents used to try to make sure that I would learn it, but as a kid growing up, I really wasn't interested. And I was just like, nah, they're not going to move me over there. But lo and behold, we got stationed there. And so I had to try and get my footing in. Eventually it came, with just conversation with people, with friends. So naturally French came, Creole came better than French because it's more common. Mm-hmm. So I spent 4 years there. That was from 2010 to 2014. So like literally after the earthquake happened, that's when my parents moved there in July. And so to spend 4 years there, and then after the 4 years to move back to Trinidad now, where I can actually experience that culture now. This is a place of the land of my birth. And so I did 3 years over there, finished high school basically, and actually dived into music then. And then after Trinidad, my parents moved back here to Jamaica. And so they had the Edna Manley College here. So I said, let me move with them, come to the college as well to pursue music and such. So ending up back here in Jamaica from that's 2017, and basically did 3 years going on 4 years there. So Jamaica is like the most time that I've spent in growing up.
Okay, so would it be fair then to say that Jamaica feels like home?
Yes, for more or less, but yeah, no, it feels like home, but in the sense of that, because there's still a lot that I did not know because I left when I was about 10. So I didn't even get the grasp of culture, sayings, and teaching. So even coming back here, it still felt alienated, so to speak, because there was like a lot that I did not know or did not get a grasp of. But I mean, that's the least for me. Still, Jamaica is home. I mean, I feel like everywhere. I love it with a passion. I fell in love with Haiti when I was there, with the culture, with the food, with the beaches, with everywhere there. The language was like a favorite thing of mine. So I would definitely call Haiti home, and then Trinidad is just special in itself.
Didn't you have a hard time picking up the Haitian Creole when you moved there from Jamaica?
I don't even remember me struggling. It was just I think what it was is that my parents would literally because it was me and my brother, so we would spend time in communication with each other. I never really needed to talk to anybody. But like when I needed things like water or little food or something like that, mommy would then teach me these little phrases. So eventually they started to come in little by little. And then TV was like our main entertainment and then TV was in French. So in just sitting down and watching it, little by little, it just started to make sense and make sense. So before I knew it, I was out here speaking Creole and understanding French as well. I think school helped as well. I went to an English school, but because the children there were Haitian descent as well, they all knew Creole. So naturally, they would throw some Creole words out there as well. Creole languages would have been spoken there. So in interacting with them, it just came naturally. So it took a while in terms of the whole of 4 years to actually get the grasp. But by the time the fourth year came, I was solid in it.
It makes me wonder then, like how, because I look at all these different dialects as different languages in their own right. So you would have, from your time in Trinidad, you have the Trini slang, right?
Yep.
And then you have Jamaican patois. Then you have Queen's English, which is what everybody speaks across every island, the English-speaking Caribbean at least. And then you have the Haitian Creole, and then you have French as well, right? So, so you have all these different languages in a way in your head, right?
Definitely. Yeah. And that's something I'm definitely going to, actually use and utilize because, as I say, I love languages. When I got here and actually listened to even the Creole here in Patois, the statements that people will make, how they speak, I can't internalize it to replicate per se, but I can fully understand, and still I would even write them down and incorporate them when I'm doing cultural things and such, because it's so precious. I see the Caribbean as having a gemstone. Like the culture itself is so rich and so precious, and language is definitely one of them. So that's something that I'll definitely take a hold of and run with.
Yeah, man. I even see language, and no pun intended, but I see language having its own cadence. It has. I see language in a way as music, in and of itself. And it's so funny when people react to different accents and different dialects very strongly, because we really have in our minds some stereotypes associated with accents and the way that people use language, and I find that very interesting. In my own life, in St. Lucia, we speak St. Lucian Creole. And so you have St. Lucian Creole, you have St. Lucian slang, and on top of that, you have Queen's English, right? And then I spent many years in the US where you have Black American English, or the way that African Americans typically talk. And, so I'm very, very intrigued by language, man. And it sounds like you've had a very expansive experience with language.
Definitely. Still to learn some more.
Yeah, man. Absolutely. And right now I want to take some time out to shout out to Jamaica. So Eliezer, you've seen the back end of the analytics on Caribbean Cadence. And
Yes.
of course there's some stuff that we're talking about behind the scenes and we're working together on, and you're learning more and more about the platform. But you'll come to find that next to St. Lucia, because of course the platform started out as Lucian musicians, and we still have a very strong base in St. Lucia, and we love our Lucian musicians. Me being a Lucian musician. But also right after St. Lucia, we have the most support coming out of Jamaica, and we really appreciate our Jamaican musicians. And so I want to big up all the Jamaican musicians. Thank you so much for your support. And I think with Eliezer on the team now as well, we will definitely be working even more closely with our Jamaican musicians. So I just wanted to take some time out to shout out to the Jamaican musicians. We appreciate you. Thank you for the support. Yeah, man. So tell me a little bit about your own playing, because you mentioned that you started playing. I think you mentioned you started playing in Haiti. Did I get that wrong?
Trinidad. Well, yeah, Trinidad is more where I started playing. So my father plays in church every now and then. He got the basics. He can handle a tune in church, so he would have been the main musician. I think in Spanish Town, drums, of course, was like my first instrument, rhythm-wise. Okay. So I would have gotten on that and dabbled in it. But my father would have been teaching me maybe the basics of the piano. That's my main instrument. Basics of the piano. These are the letters, these are the chords, and then one or two songs. But I never really was intrigued or interested to continue it. But and this is a special thing about the Salvation Army. The Salvation Army is an organization, a church missionary group, but still the music is a vital part of it. So they have brass instruments that they would teach as well, along with regular keys, drums, and bass and all of that. But brass ministry, music ministry through brass is like a main ministry through the Salvation Army. And so being a young person in the church growing up, you kind of engage in that activity as well. So my formal training to music came through learning brass music, learning to read, learning to play, learning to blow. So trumpet and cornet would have been the first official terms of playing, not actual music, but formalized music. But drums would have been my first instrument, playing in church, doing that as we wouldn't really have a stable drummer. So I just ended up picking up. I remember going down to the church one time, had this rhythm in my head and just played it. And I was like, oh, it's coming. It happened, like, just so. Yeah. Going into Trinidad, into Haiti, is when I would have continued with brass training, with doing that. And then I wouldn't have much opportunities to play in church because my parents now have elevated outside of church service, and they are in more like administrational work. And so that means that they would have moved from one church to the other every Sunday. So I wouldn't have been settled in a church to play per se. So that period, it was just all in my head, cultivating and such. Then when we moved to Trinidad is more when I was about 14 going onwards. So now I'm looking for more of a stable place to stay. So I am, as my parents still moves from one church to the other, because now they're responsible for the whole Trinidad division or the mission work there. I stayed in one church and then cultivated and grew there. My father would have still been the one to play every now and then, and while I would have been on drums. However, he had to leave for a couple months, and so there was nobody playing. And I just told my pastor, hey, just give me the songs. I'll look them up, write down the chords, and I'll come up and hold on foundation with that. So then it was just from there. Then it just started to go a little deeper, go a little deeper. I remember one person per se, he called me up and had me play at I guess a convention, church convention with United, when the churches come together, which is more like, a bigger setting. And that was pressure for me, but I guess it was even now the push or the commissioning into playing, actual playing. So it was from there that after he actually said, yeah, man, come in and play, because he would have played the bass while I play keys. And so he would have been there guiding me along the way. And so from then, it's just been keys all the way. So, but church would have been where it all started. I continued it in school, studied it for high school, CXC, music CXC. And then, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. One thing that stuck out to me is you mentioned that the Salvation Army is a church in and of itself.
Yes, yeah, that's primarily what it is. I realize everybody has that.
Yeah, I didn't know that at all. I thought it was like a charitable thing, like the Red Cross, right?
Oh. It does that work, but the origin roots, or essentially what it is a church, basically. Holy. So they have congregational gathering, they have meetings, and it's a worldwide movement. So even in St. Lucia, because I know people there, I think St. Lucia is a part of Barbados division. So I think it's only one church that's there in St. Lucia with Captain Michelle. But there's a church there, there's a work going on there. The social work is a bit, but essentially, first and foremost, it is a church.
Wow, I never knew that, man. And yeah, every single episode since I've started the Green Room, I have always learned something new, man. And this is, I think for sure, this is going to be the thing that sticks out to me on this episode. I did not know the Salvation Army was an actual church. Yeah, man. But tell me a little bit about Edna Manley, because I'm very intrigued by that institution. I really wish we had multiple Edna Manleys all around the Caribbean,
Right. Edna Manley.
Yeah, tell me a little bit about your experience there.
Well, it's a blessed place, I would say. The vision that they have there for it to be the a performing arts college, really they're on their way, to they've come far, and then far to go still, but the space that was created, especially for cultivating people's gifts, because it's not just music, it has drama, it has arts, visual arts, it has arts management, which is like the business side of things. It has dance as well, and I hope I'm not forgetting anything. School of Continuing Ed, which is basically, I guess, an adult school version of it, education. But I would say it's a space that is there to just cultivate your gifts, your talents in the arts, in the performing arts and visual arts there. And specifically for the School of Music, it has an atmosphere and a space where musicians basically can even go there, and connections can be formed there. It has a pretty good program. It's accredited. The music is in communication with Berkeley. So there are a lot of Berkeley courses you can get there with the degree program that's offered there. The education program is pretty solid, although if I do say so, it's pretty solid there. And so you definitely can hone your skill. They're like, they know what they're about. They know what they have. Of course, with every college, there's still improvement that can be made. But definitely for sure, I can say a big part of my growth came from the years spent at the Edna Manley College. I only did 2 years there doing an associate's degree there, but 3 years because I did a pre-college course as well. So which is the beautiful thing about it is that you didn't need, even if you don't have something like a ABRSM qualification or any formal training to say you're certified grade 5 at least to get into the degree bachelor program, you still can take a 1-year pre-college course to get the essential foundations that you would need to go into now the bachelor degree program, whether education or performance and such. But yeah.
Good, man. That sounds beautiful, man. And I want to shout out to the Edna Manley team and staff, administration, everybody making that possible. So you mentioned that multiple art forms are taught there. Would you say that music is really the focus,
No,
or
no. It's literally just one aspect of it.
okay?
So where the college was formed, it started with, as the name suggests, Edna Manley. She is a visual artist. So she had started a visual school of arts. I don't remember the name of it, but that's where it started. And then incorporating now the School of Music, which was at the time, it went by the name the School of Music. And that was done by Vera Moody. She was a musician back then as well. So she had started that. So they came together to join. And then theater came on board and joined as well. And then the dance school came on board and joined as well. But all being equal, visual arts eventually came. It started with visual arts. Eventually incorporating arts management to come in as well. So it is multi-focus because they're to cultivate and bring in professionals in each and every fields and profession of the arts. So it's not solely music, because as strong as music can be, dance school can be strong as well, as equally as strong. Drama school can be strong as well, So each and every school has its let's say weight, or the focus that's there. So it's not solely music,
All right. And I guess coming in, of course, you then does everybody get exposure to all the schools, or do you come in selecting exactly what you want to do or exactly where you want to go?
You come in selecting what you want to do, where you want to go. However, because the school's mission as well, a part of it is just to be, not to be segregated, but to be incorporating in the other fields and genres as well. So you can take courses of the other schools or faculty or other based platforms. So I can be here doing music, but I can go over to drama school to learn lighting, to learn staging, to learn, things, courses that has to do with theater, as well as I can go to dance school, and maybe I'm a singer and I need to, learn to move on stage while performing. Dance school can fully cultivate that as well. Dance school can come over to learn some elective. Those who do maybe musical theater can come get some voice training as well, learn an instrument. So it is fully, you can incorporate, or you can maneuver through and get through to the different schools. They encourage that sort of participation. So it's definitely something that they're working on, even still pushing forth.
Okay. Yeah, man. It just sounds like a great institution, and I just really hope that that model is replicated throughout the region. And I know there's this really good performing arts school in Trinidad. I don't know the name.
UTT,
Yeah.
University of Trinidad and Tobago. That's excellent.
Yeah. I've come across them in my scouting for Caribbean Cadence. I've come across some of their alumni. Is that the word? Yeah. So shout out to them as well. And I think of course, the thing with everybody is prior to COVID now, right?
Yes.
I was about to say prior to COVID. I think things are on the right path, but I think we'll get back there, man. There are musicians all across the platform right now who are discouraged. Some people feel like selling their instruments. People don't feel like it's profitable to be a musician anymore, and it might not be again for a long time. But I think it's gonna come back. I think we'll get out of this and come out on the other end stronger than we were before.
Definitely. One of the things with COVID that it has forced people to do as well is to adapt, to get on skills that they never really thought possible before. So since everything is online, now people would get into maybe even music production or even to recording themselves, as a lot of concerts would have been streamed online as well. So those are skills that I would encourage musicians to get on board with, and even because there's a lot of places even demanding these form of things, these skill sets. A lot of places would have been asking for these traits. So definitely, even though, because even from personal experience, I've done quite a few virtual concerts versus concerts that are actually out there with the people. The people still has my heart, But even in that, it's still an experience in itself, and we still get to play some music. And so don't get discouraged, guys. Get discouraged. Find a way to adapt, guys. Let's go.
Yeah, and that's exactly what Jay was telling me from Antigua on the last episode of the Green Room, where he mentioned that, you know, prior to COVID, he was just full-time music, and he's since had to adjust to now also being an accountant as well. So it's good to, yeah, you have your hands in more than one pot. There's nothing wrong with that. It does not say that you aren't passionate about your art, or that you're not consistent, you know, but that versatility is important, you know.
Definitely.
So let me ask you a question, and you can be as blunt or as honest as you want to be. I think in some ways you would be speaking for the viewers or listeners on this question. What would you like to see, ideally, in a perfect world, from Caribbean Cadence? If you could snap your fingers right now, what would the platform look like to you?
General. Oh, I think somebody had mentioned it, and it just stuck. So as you say that, this is what comes up. Just like you have NAM in the States, where bands come together and to share the equipment, the knowledge, and so forth. I think a Caribbean version of that would be great, because even while I'm here and being exposed to so many great musicians here in Jamaica that would have been a part of even the eras of the past and still even running the era right now, especially in the reggae music industry, whether gospel as well, dancehall. So to learn from these musicians, to get the knowledge that and the experiences that they have had, you know, and that's something that I'm fascinated with throughout the Caribbean, because if I could just run to Trinidad right now and even get the same thing of looking for those who are in the scene, in the Calypso days and the Soca days, those who play on Soca Monarch, those who create those hit songs, like their process, their creative process, you know, their mind, how they process things, just to get as much knowledge as possible. Basically a place to share, you know, where people can come together in the different fields of the music industry, whether production, whether actually instrumentation, whether, you know, even the visual aspect or the audio aspect, whether the technological aspect of it, equipments, even to understand even how to the keyboards that we can get, the bass that we can get, toning wise, and details with all of that, to create just that platform where we can all get together as one Caribbean place, being the melting pot that we are, to share each and everybody's different culture, each and everybody's different skill, and to just grow. And I think eventually, even just to all of that, you know, to just be made as one brand, to say, yeah, man, we're Caribbean, you know, and then the Caribbean already has an impact on the world, but even I feel like it's just so much untapped potential. Like we've only just scratched the surface with it. So like that brand that can just take over the world, where people already have been coming to the Caribbean, specifically Jamaica. I've met people from France, from Japan, who come here specifically to learn about the culture and the music here. You know, they come literally to play reggae. Some people, like, just for reggae. They don't want jazz, they don't want gospel, they don't want none of that, because they can put it over there. But the genres that are unique to this culture, you know, to be stapled as one brand, one Caribbean brand in the different countries as well. Right. For that to be now even communicated internationally. Yeah, that'll be my perfect world.
And I think that is very achievable. I think the platform is already headed in that direction. Sure. But we have work to do. You know what I mean? Sure. So viewers and listeners, you know, we want to tell you that we are committed to doing the legwork that we need to do to make sure that we realize the potential and realize the picture that Eliezer just shared with all of you. Because to be honest with you, that is exactly the picture that's in my head as well. And one of the greatest things as a founder is when you hear someone else that shares your vision, someone else that shares the idea that you've been working towards. Because there's a saying that says, if you want to go fast, go alone. if you want to go far, go together, right?
Yeah,
Is that's it, right?
something like that. Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. So I think with Eliezer's help, I think this platform can move a bit further than it has been. And so I'll be learning from him. He'll be learning from me. And we'll do what we can to achieve the goal. Right?
Sure, for sure.
Yeah, man. But beyond that, and this is probably the last thing I'm going to ask you before we head out. This is going to be a shorter Green Room episode than usual. But really, my purpose for this episode is I just really wanted to introduce you to the platform and introduce people to you. What would you say are your like ambitions musically, if you want to share that with us?
Ambitions musically. Ambition. As I say, so I'm growing up, I grew up Caribbean. And so Caribbean sound is my thing.
Okay.
You know, it's the thing that because even if I was supposed to continue and do a third and fourth year show, definitely one of those shows at Edna would have been centered around the sound of the Caribbean. So ambition musically, I really want to learn. I want to just learn the different rhythms. And it's not even just for Caribbean music, because Caribbean music is stemmed from African music as well.
Yeah.
And I find myself gravitating towards African spiritual music as well, even though I didn't even just stem out even into India and into these different cultural music. I think any of my anything that I love musically is anything that communicates with the spirit, anything that pulls at you. And so African music, Caribbean music kind of does that naturally. Right. So ambitions really is just to learn as much about it as possible and to be able to produce and create it as well. Not only for myself, but to impact, as I say, even just the international platform from Caribbean still, just to speak to them as well, but internationally as well. I believe that music is a vehicle used to transport a message. You've seen it in soca, you've seen it in Cali, you've seen it in reggae, where they speak about social issues, about education, about all sorts of things, you know.
Right.
So a lot of social issues being in the Salvation Army have grown for that to be a passion as well, whether to deal with racism, whether to deal with politics, whether to deal with anything like that. So definitely to use it as a tool to carry that message, but definitely ambitious about just learning how harmony works and speak to people. We're learning how melody and rhythm can be exploited and you know, just dived into. But definitely even just to come back home to the Caribbean, and possibly even if there's a new song that I can get, just get that new song and take it out.
Right.
But yeah,
absolutely,
definitely an ambition.
Yeah. Now you did mention you're on Eastern time right now, so that means are you in Jamaica right now?
Yeah. That's where I'm living right now.
So how come y'all are using Eastern time in Jamaica instead of Atlantic Standard Time?
I don't know. I can't tell you. That's just. I think what it was. There was a. What is it? I don't know, them daylight saving time switch or something like that. Yeah. Once upon couple months ago. So I think they switched onto us. So I guess that time became whatever Eastern Standard Time was became our time. So I think eventually, even when they switched back, because I think they were an hour behind, or I don't even remember. But eventually they were just gonna switch back, and then I guess we'll get the Central or Atlantic time or whatever. You're on the Atlantic?
I'm on the Atlantic right now. So I thought you were like in the US or.
Oh no. In Jamaica. No, but I think Jamaica has always been even on that time ahead, because while I was in Trinidad, they were an hour ahead of Jamaica naturally. So I think that's just how it is. Even like Jamaica just on Eastern Standard. I don't know. I guess.
Yeah. Jamaica is kind of close to Florida, I guess. So it would kind of make sense. Like it's just right, probably under the boundary of the Eastern time zone, instead of Atlantic Standard Time.
Right. I'm sure if we look up a geography map and look at the time zones, then we'll see it right there. Cool. Yeah.
Yeah, man. So, quick question. and I know I promised the last one was the last one, but this is actually the last one. So, and this is becoming a tradition at this point because I've been asking every musician this from the time we started this platform. If you had all the musicians in the Caribbean in front of you right now, just all in one place, everybody's sitting watching you, what would you say to them aside from what you've said to me tonight?
Cherish your sound. Cherish your culture. Aside from that, still, work to get the best that you can in terms of don't limit yourself just because you're Caribbean. Don't limit yourself to just one thing. You know, there's a thing with diversity. There's a thing with adapting, as I said. So for sure, go out and explore when you have the opportunity to grab it and take it. Get as much knowledge as possible, and then also aim to impact. Because you're not playing for yourself as musicians. We have a job to basically shape the emotions of the listeners. You are responsible for how they feel. So aim to impact, basically. Yeah.
Man, you're sharing some gems, man. All right. You're sharing some gems tonight, boy. Yeah, for sure. And I'll make sure to share that on the platform for sure, man. Those are some very timely words, especially in the times that we're living in, where some folks are discouraged. A lot of folks feel like it's not even worth it anymore. But I just want to encourage everybody to hang in there. Let's keep doing our part and just, wake up every day and do the best you can, whatever that looks like for you.
Yeah.
Eliezer, thank you for joining me in the green room.
No problem.
Folks, as always, we're in the green room every month, every single month. So watch out for us, typically on the third week of the month. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you in March. All right.